Hey everybody, this is Zach and Jason from Stone Oak Property Management today, and we are talking a little bit about their company and also talking about how they've been using Sunroom over the last couple of years. Thanks so much for joining me today, Jason.
Sure thing, man. Absolutely.
So I'd love to hear a little bit more about your company. I know that you've been doing entrepreneurship for a long time. I guess let's just even take a step back before we get into Stone Oak specifically. Like, how did you get into real estate? Maybe you could tell us a little bit about the different facets of real estate you've been doing.
Sure. Yeah. No, I mean, give you the abbreviated version. I guess I've been at it for almost 20 years now. But I got into real estate for investment. I wanted to buy, rentals and flip houses and all that, I guess, before the flip shows were on everywhere. And so I started out buying properties at foreclosure auctions, and it was a lot of fun. And met some cool cats. I went and I worked for one of the largest guys that did it in town, learned a lot from him, and then I started my own firm and kind of just took off from there. We started adding agents. I never really intended to have real estate agents working for us, and we ended up, going that route. And then I guess it was 2011 or so, yeah, when we started Stone Oak. I had we just, with those agents, we had a good referral source to bring in, and so that's really where we started with Stone Oak. Just kind of, we had two properties which were our own that were in there, and we just slowly added it and been playing with software and learning as we kind of go along. It's been a really cool ride, but yeah, so it was really happenstance with real estate. So that's, I guess, to answer your question. I didn't ever think like that's, I'm going to be, an agent, or I'm going to be a property manager. Like, I don't think anybody ever says that, actually. But it's been really good, man. Austin, and we love Austin, Texas. It's been really good to us, and it's been fun to grow these businesses.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are huge. I think you're the dominant player here in Austin. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about the size of your company,
Yeah,
door
so
count, and also just an employee type of setup.
yeah, I think we're creeping up to 1,000 doors. We're right at it. I think we're of the larger. I think there's a few guys. We're definitely in single digits. I think we're probably in the top 5 or 6 as far as size wise in Austin. But our setup, the way that we function, we have a kind of a hybrid portfolio model. When you look at management companies, most of them are either departmentalized, where they have like accounting and you have a leasing department, you have a maintenance department, and then you kind of have to bounce around the different departments. And then you have a portfolio where you have one person that does everything within the portfolio. And we're a hybrid, so we have property managers, but then we have maintenance department. We still have accounting department, and then of course we have you guys, our leasing department. But our managers are like the one point of contact, so that we don't have to call. If you're an owner, you don't have to call all around and everything. And that's, I guess, few years. We started in about 3 years ago as this hybrid model, probably about the same time that we started working with y'all. I think it's when we switched over. But it's a challenge. There's always, property management's always got something that's interesting, going on, and we're learning a lot as we go.
I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people that are listening, and they're super impressed that you guys got up to 1,000 doors, because so many groups, they end up tapping out at 200, 300 doors. I guess, how do you think you got to be so big? Like, it sounds like one of the things might be that you care a lot about the owners. You guys were owners before.
That's right.
I'm sure there's some other great stuff. Maybe you could just kind of talk about how you think about growth and how you guys have been so successful.
Well, I think one of the biggest things with most people, and we were there too, with property managers, you start out, and I think when we had about 200 properties, we were more profitable than when we had like 300 or 400 properties, because of the jump in staff. All of a sudden you need more staff. The labor comes in, and you can't remember. When you have 150, 200 properties, you can remember everybody. For the most part. I mean, it's a lot of people, but you know who the properties are really well. And so you can have, it's just easier. It was a lot easier because we didn't have to be as process driven as we are now. Now there's a process for everything. I mean, we have to. We're very mechanized, and so as you well know, you guys are really good at processes and have helped us with some of that stuff too. But Yeah, so I think that's the different. I think just people get burned out. I mean, you just because you're in that no man's land. If you're trying to grow it, you have to push past. Because it was probably around 500 units or so when we were back up. I'm like, okay, now we could make it, but it was rough, with and I have a business partner too, Manu, that he is more the operations. I'm more sales and growth, and he does operations. And there was a time there where I didn't think he was ready to bail, man. I didn't think we were gonna make it.
It's
So
interesting. They're pulling forces, right? Like
yes,
most people, they want to grow, and then you've got to have that yin to that yang and figure out how you're going to support all that. And having
right.
both of those, both because both things are equally as difficult. It takes kind of some symphony to have both in sync like that.
That's right. Well, I think so, but I think management is just so process driven, and when you're working in it, like Manu was, he was doing a lot in the behind the scenes that people, you wouldn't even know. But it's hard to work. Well, too, it's hard to work on the business when you're working in the business, and
Yeah.
property management is relentless, and especially as you start building more units. There's always something, a proverbial or literal fire. There's something that's broken or whatever, and so it's that was the biggest challenge. And I'm sure that a lot of owner operators have that same challenge of trying to just get this stuff off my plate so I can get there. But then you hire somebody and you have to train them. Well, that's who's got that kind of time. I can't train
Hmm.
somebody. And then and finding the right person too. And so but I think that's really like I said, the threshold, 300 or 400 doors. I think if you can hold out, if you can, manage, then you're okay. And then it's really working on the growth. And then, but we keep breaking things as we go along, man. Try to fix it and find a new solution. You know how that goes.
Yeah, for sure.
Grow and fix this. Let's try again. Try this other thing.
So, about how many doors do you think you were at the time that we started to work together a few years ago?
Um, that was in 2020. That was right before we acquired Tree Homes,
Hmm.
right before that acquisition. And so I think at that time we were probably 400 doors ish or so, maybe three, because I just cut a bunch of them too. We got more narrow in the focus of what we wanted. So somewhere around there. I'd say 400 maybe.
Yeah, I think you're right. I was gonna say about
Maybe a
that
little
too.
more.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
so I mean, it's been pretty amazing to watch you guys, literally double
Yeah.
since then over a couple of short years. I mean, that's
Yeah.
that's huge.
Yeah. It is. It's been really cool. It's a good ride, man. And that's it's been challenging. And so, like I said, the labor is the hardest thing, I think, for a lot of people, is trying to figure out you know, where to get help, where to, what to do. So
When
yeah.
you guys were doing all the leasing, like, did you feel as though your team was spending a good amount of time on that type of activity and it was prohibiting from working on some of the other management aspects and other operational things and growth?
And that was one of the reasons why it kind of made sense with you guys, is that you're, you really need a specialist in leasing. That's what it is. It's somebody to answer all the calls and to field the tenants and to, make sure that we're getting them up quickly and just all of it. And it's given our model, and the reason we like our model is that we do like specialists in each of those departments. You have a property manager might be great on the maintenance side, but terrible at leasing. And so for us, it made a ton of sense, because that's what we like. We like having the specialist, and um, it, all of that, us choosing that model is because we wanted to grow. That's exact. So that's um, it kind of goes, hand in hand there with with how we set up. So, but yeah, but I think before you guys came on, so we were still learning. Like I said, um, I think we had two leasing people, and that's
Hmm.
all they were just doing. They were just doing full-time leasing, and then we had a manager, and it was just a lot to manage them. And then because if what happens when they were on vacation or they, quit or whatever, with 20 listings, and you got this big old mess to clean up. So yeah, so far so good, man. We've been doing really good together. I think both of us have grown substantially, and it's been a great ride.
It really has. I mean, we've liked working with you guys and your whole team. It's like Sunroom's set up interestingly how we're both software and people, and I think both working together is what has to happen for real estate. And our teams liked working with your team, and even on the software side, I mean, you guys have been, hugely helpful to us in developing the product over the last couple of years. I mean, I'm just thinking of how much our product has evolved since working with you a few years ago. I mean,
Absolutely.
I think that's one of the cool things that we've been able to do together and with other partners like you guys is we listen to what you have to say. We build products rapidly to support those things, and that's one of the big reasons why I think the product's gotten so good over these last few years.
That's awesome. Yeah, well, that's it. You've got real world. There's stuff that keeps coming up, right? We don't know, and so it's just trying to solve those problems. That's really it's the game, man. That's all it is.
Yeah, that is the game for sure.
Yeah.
Um, I guess what are some of the things that you think that Sunroom's been good for you guys? Like, what have you liked most about working with Sunroom?
I think it's you guys are our leasing department. I mean, that's like I said that it's we like having the way our business is set up. We like having the specialties, and that was one of the things I think that initially attracted me to you guys whenever we were talking. I think y'all, I forget how many people y'all had on your app. It was thousands, thousands. It was a lot. And I was
Yeah.
like, man, that's kind of cool. So when you put a property in, you have a tenant pool that's already there, like they're good to go. And I just thought that was really neat. And you guys outpace the market, and leasing, you lease faster than the market. All those things are really, really attractive to us. And they are selling points. When I talk to owners, I can say, we're beating the market by 10 days or, 2 weeks or whatever it is. And that's really handy. But for our model, like I said, specifically just having a leasing partner, I don't have to worry. You have to deal with your people. I don't have to deal with your people. It's great. It's one less thing, one more thing off our plate. We can focus on growth, right? That's it.
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, I agree. I think it is really positioned for companies that are trying to be intentional and thoughtful about their growth. And I think that's one of the reasons why it's worked so much. Um, what would be something that you would tell another property management company that might be considering using Sunroom? They're like maybe they've seen a demo or if they've heard something, but they're on the fence. Like,
Hmm.
what would kind of be um, something that they might want to think
Some
about?
tips or point.
Yeah.
I think it's, a lot of people, you have to take a hard look at, because I know most operators, and especially if you're talking to like smaller, companies, they say, well, we make money off of it, or it's a revenue stream for them. And so it just really depends on where they are. If they're doing it themselves, you got an owner operator that's doing everything themselves. Maybe they need the money for it. I don't know. But if you're trying to grow and you're going to hire somebody, you're going to hire, have a couple, it's almost a wash, like leasing is not, I mean, you guys are making it work. We don't have to talk about how you're making for us, the dollars and the hassle wasn't worth, we can function on being a better company and, other aspects of operations that, operations is what slows our growth the most. Honestly, that's
Hmm.
it. Like it's
Hmm.
me, my partnership, I run me running the sales and my partner being the operator. It's constantly like, hey, slow down. Slow down. We got to fix these things before we do this, or we got to do this before we can do that, before we can grow and do this next thing. And so I would say somebody that's looking, if they have the mindset for growth and you want to, then to me, it's a no-brainer. You have to start looking at things to make your life easier as an owner. You're going to go crazy, man.
You are going to go crazy if you have to do it all. And to your point, it's hard to be amazing at everything. Like
Yeah,
you can't
well, you
expect to be the
can't.
best
No,
leaser. You can't be the best with owner relations. You can't be the best about service. Something's got to give.
that's right.
Um,
No, that's absolutely right.
I guess, if you were to sum up Sunroom in a single phrase, like some short type of snippet, how much you describe it to someone?
Hmm. I think single phrase is tough, but like, ease of use. I think the way that our handshakes are really good, like how we give the properties back and forth. I think that's super convenient. We love the live link. That was something that I was really, really wanting to do.
So that
Live link is
so
so
that the
the owners can.
investors in your team can follow along.
That's right, and see, owners can see, applicants, or they can see showings and all that stuff right there. They don't have to call anybody or whatever. Um, I just feel like, ease of use is a big, like the hand. It's not as complicated as you'd think. You've done a really good job of making that handshake clean, because that is one of the challenging pieces. Anytime we bring on a new door, it's been smooth. And that's what's important to me, right? We sell the dream, man.
Right.
We're out there on my sales team. We're selling the dream. We're this wonderful company. We got to deliver that product, when we get them in. Um, so yeah,
Nice. Yeah.
hopefully that helps. Yeah.
No, that does help, and I think it's a good point. Um, when thinking about what the product does, I mean, you're bringing up a handful of those things of, it gives you real-time reporting updates. It helps you have clarity on which homes are getting set up and what has to happen for the setups. Some of the things on the handoff for the application processing. Um, you know, uh, that holistic thing, I think when people are thinking of a leasing department, sometimes they forget all of the different aspects of what has to happen. And
Right.
I think you just bring up a good point of that it has it all right there.
That's right. Well, and it's, you guys are very process driven too. That's what property management needs. Especially, we mostly have, our landlords just have one property. Some, have a couple. We don't have a ton of really big books of property. We have a handful, but it's mostly onesie twosie deals. And these, so just to answer, to get to all these people, to make sure that they have this, it's got to be, like I said, I like the word mechanized. It's just really, and that's, you guys are very much that way as well, which helps, it makes us look good, and
how,
so.
how have your employees and team thought about Sunroom? I mean, I get it from the owner's perspective that you're like, hey, this
Mhm.
thing's more efficient. It's probably even, significantly more profitable than before. Like, were the team members ever like, oh man, what's going to happen to my job that they're coming in and, going to be doing leasing? Like,
Well, y'all have been with us through through our transition. So really it wasn't as, it was a relief. Like nobody, when we, when we had talked about leasing in the past, nobody wants to do it, no, which is crazy. Like the property managers don't like to sell necessarily, like they're not, because we only have one of our managers that actually even does any kind of sales or leasing. Most of them don't want, they're process people, they're operations people, like, and they should be, right, to be in that job. It's what it is. So if I were to say, like, for us, I think they'd go crazy if we were doing, it takes, it's a certain kind of crazy to do sales and leasing and stuff, right? And
yeah.
um, so the transition for us was easy though. Like we wanted the help, we needed the help, and I was dealing with the leasing people, so it's wonderful now. I don't have to I don't have to mess with that anymore. It's just done,
That's great to hear. Yeah,
Yeah,
totally. Um,
absolutely.
and I guess kind of just to wrap up the conversation, you've been accomplished as an entrepreneur, being able to do a lot of different types of things in real estate, and you guys have already built a super impressive business. Like, what's next for Jason and Manu? Are you guys gonna keep growing, expanding more markets, like doing other types of things inside of the real estate space? Um,
If it's up to me, absolutely. Yeah, no, I love to grow. It's fun. I like building things. I don't know about accomplished entrepreneur. We have some things that worked. You know, we have some things that, that we, and property management, like I said, it's the process, it's all very process driven. And so that's why we like it. It's something you can continue. It's continuous improvement. We're constantly working to clean up processes and, oh, this could be more efficient or what have you. But I like things. I love growing things, and because of the management company, it's allowed us, like, we see things that are broken, or like our maintenance. We would like more, better options for maintenance, and so we just started. We have our own little maintenance company. I just bought my second truck
oh,
Friday,
cool. Wow.
and so we're going to be adding to. We're going to get a fleet. That's what the intention is, and so. But just kind of like you guys, we're going to get really good at it. That's our plan, is to be just really good at maintenance for management companies. And then I'm going to offer the service to other management companies. We're going to
Hmm.
have, just business to business. That's all I want to do. I don't want to go and I'm not going to paint your house, right? I'll go and we'll just do maintenance on a property management service. That's the plan anyways. And then also just 3 weeks ago, we launched our insurance company. So we have an insurance agency here in Texas that it's for the landlords. We started, we kind of shopped everything just as, Mono and I being landlords ourselves too.
Hmm.
So that's really exciting. We've got a couple guys from a really large company that just sold out, and they come with a ton of experience. So I guess that's next. We'll continue to grow some other little projects here. So
It's
it's
super
fun.
cool though. I mean, it's like innovative that you are seeing pain points that are happening directly in the industry, things like maintenance and insurance and all these other facets, and you're then thinking how to solve problems for these things that you're seeing from your own portfolio. I mean, it's amazing.
Absolutely, yeah.
There's a
It's cool because it'll be direct benefit to the owners. That's exactly it. It's not a hard sell when you can save somebody some money and do things, better and save a buck. That's always the best thing.
And then because you've been able to pull yourself out of some of the day to day from having like the systems you put into place and Sunroom, you've been able to free your mind to think through this stuff and be able to scratch that entrepreneurial itch.
That's right. I mostly work on the business. I think Manu is still about 50-50. I think he's got his hands in it, but we actually just hired our first controller. We're really excited. And that's going to take a lot of the financial function. That's what Manu still hangs on to, is a lot of the financial function. And that's should take a lot off his plate. We're really excited about it. I'm excited for him, man. He's been busting his butt for over a decade, man. He's a good guy and he works hard.
I know you guys are the dynamic duo. I love that you guys are able to both work on different areas of the company and both have different personalities and different things that you think are super important. And I love that partnership. It's
That's
awesome.
right. No, I do too. He's a good guy. It's been a really good run. We've had a good time. I've had a really good time. I guess I can only speak for myself.
Well, we love working with you guys and appreciate you just taking a couple minutes to share your
Absolutely.
experience with us.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thanks, Zach.